Adorable. Mhm. Nasus, yes. Nasus is a very good ball laner. Mhm. Yeah, I wonder how much, like, Taki has in the back pocket, because Taki, I think, is somebody that's shown quite a bit of versatility as a support as
Eric's on mute.
well.
I realized
But
I was muted. My bad.
oh, wow.
Failed production.
Yeah. Oh, really quickly, before he has a chance to say anything, right as we were coming in, I was talking very heavily about how I thought Nasus was an amazing pick, and Carrick's was saying, "Oh, that's a really bad idea. It's very, very bad." Right, Carrick's. That's
Yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah, totally. That's what's going on. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
uh, to give credit where credit's due, he suggested the Nasus, which is an amazing idea into both Ryuk and also Ayamine, especially because it's lethal tempo Xayah this game, which would have been a lot worse. Also, it's a lot harder to press your ultimate key when it's just the Wither, even though the Wither has the effects of something that you probably should be dodging with an ultimate from Xayah. So that's kind of nice as well. You're not wrong, though. That would have been a really disgusting combination on the bottom side, and I know that they've run it. I think in LCK they did it. As a response to not Callista but Zeri, which is a really good idea.
It's really good into Zeri. I think I saw it in. I think it might have even been like CBLOL or something. I just remember seeing it into Zeri. Right. Really big brain stuff, but it is Shogun actually taking a fair bit of punishment there at level 1, but it is Senna, so kind of just queues up over time. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter all that much. It also has a couple of pots in the back pocket. It's got the biscuits in the back pocket, so health pool is a little bit higher than what you normally imagine it to be. It's just going to be a bit of pushing coming out from Ayamine to kick things off. And again, this is a composition that I think is really tough to breach in the later stages of the game now for Burst the Sky. So I'm kind of curious what it is that they're going to do to set themselves into a good pace. Again, their early game has been, to me, what has caused the most has been caused for most scrutiny, like especially against Saigon Buffalo and the many games we've had in terms of litmus against them in their best of 5 and whatnot. And
Glory,
last game was
that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable, Glory.
Yeah, how are we dying on LeBlanc in the beginning of the game? I know we talked about how. Yeah, to a Victor. Like we're not like LeBlanc's not solo killing Victor, which is already a problem that I've got with the champion inside of this laning phase. But you should never be getting solo killed this early in the game. I know you don't have any wave pressure, and you really want wave pressure. So sometimes you use your body to aggressively. You throw it into minions instead of using it as a tool to trade with. But man, Gloria, like that is just. Like that, you're asking to lose the game if you're going to end up giving that much pressure to begin with.
We've got a dive coming in onto Ryuk. He is ignited. Drakthar comes in at a perfect time to save him, though. Well played there. This should just diffuse the situation. Good job, Drakthar.
Yeah, well played from Drakthar, who kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting him to show up, but the bear out of the woods ends up, chasing down to the horse in an attempt to get some prey. Was it level 3 quick from Froggy? Is that what happened right here? Maybe that was the attempted play. Yeah, Glory was backing off pretty well.
Yeah.
Either got greedy looking for like a trade or something like that. I'm really confused what happened. There's the level 3 E-tags.
Why?
No, that wasn't the punishment either. We're so far back in this replay. Why are we getting teased?
Well, no, I think what's really important here is seeing that Glory gets hit by that laser, right? He cops a random laser and then uses the W. Because think about it this way. If Froggy walks up and presses Q on you, you just W away, and then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think that W forward was just an absolute shock.
Getting devastated right now in the mid lane. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. It shouldn't be happening with anybody on any champion. But Froggy on this Froggy's had this really weird propensity to splits to just take control mages and be like, yeah, I'm gonna get solo kills. Like he's like auto attacked people to death with Vex, which is just the weirdest thing in the world to actually see.
BJ coming in onto Glory. They actually can't lock him up. He played that one pretty well.
Yeah, well played from Glory, just making sure that BJ gets drawn in the wrong direction. Also was able to avoid the gravity well long enough to not really get sucked in and end up CC'd. So, got off to a really bad foot with that solo kill that caused a problem with the weight or with the E upgrade, the aftershock potentially coming through, which is going to mean that Glory's not going to have impact pretty much at all eventually. Okay, this is
BJ just coming in and just killing him.
What?
He didn't have W. He used W on the wave.
He used it on the wave?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. First off, the fact that Glory does it, kind of punishing. The fact that BJ was paying that much attention to the lane to be like, oh, he used W, I'm just going to go kill him. kind of good on BJ just to watch and make sure that Glory was paying complete attention, because obviously he had just shown up in the lane. So good on BJ, I think, more than on Glory. I know Glory wanted to shove that and just be gone immediately, but it's very hard to be like, oh yeah, it's been 15 seconds since BJ's been in my lane, I can use Distortion now, or I still can't use Distortion out of fear that the Hecarim is going to show up in my laning phase again.
Yeah.
I'll give a little bit of slack for that one. But
yeah, that's not so much Glory's fault. It's just a really good read by BJ. So he's the beneficiary. Froggy, yeah, he's in some trouble as Drakthar on the way. Does put up that gravity field. As he's just going to try and solo kill Glory on the other side. I don't think it's going to quite work out. It gets a little bit closer than it should have. But in the end, it will be Glory picking up the kill.
I can appreciate the attempt, but yeah, well played from Drakthar right there, being able to sneak out behind the Victor, make sure to get Glory a little bit out of the hole that was dug in. It's a level 6 trend, which is the one problem with this, but...
I mean, you can't dive this. It's a level 6 trend. This is just a Krug steal. This is just a Krug steal, but Drakthar is on the way. BJ in range to help out if they really want to commit onto Husmed. Now, this you can do. Because Ryuk doesn't have a tower to play around. Smart Q there by Husmed to gain distance. They just want to chase them away. Again, you don't want to mess with that level 6 Tryndamere. Strakthar just takes way too much damage. He goes low. He will not quite tick down, but it's a close run race.
I can give a ridiculous amount of props to both of them here. I think Husmed played that about as well as he could have. He dropped the Ignite on Ryuk to make sure the play couldn't really go any further. The Phase Rush got him out of the right position. But it was BJ's angle on that E that not only prevented Drakthar from re-engaging onto Husmed, who had very low health. Oh, actually, mid lane.
Glory's dead. He's already used the W. Yep, there it is. Taki taking that kill. Glory, I mean, again... maybe not entirely his fault. You really don't expect a Scion to be coming from there. But, he's back to bot lane, by the way. Taki making plays in all 3 lanes as BJ surfs on through. This should be an easy kill onto Elio, while Taki just plays Distraction on Aomine, and BJ gets himself some lovely gold.
And how is it exactly that Taki is able to step out of laning phase as the farming member of this bottom lane, get across the map, make a massive play in the top side, make a play in mid lane, and also ult back to bottom side and make a play there, man? Like this kind of like influence over the map is unheralded for a support, especially for an ADC to be able to do something like that. Technically, he's the farmer, so like that's what his job is supposed to be. But the fact that he was able to get influence on top side by being there for the 2v3 and then finding Glory because the W had gone down, there's no way the Distortion gets him out of the situation like this, and then just immediately gets the ult bot and a play gets forced down there. Again, to me, it's burst the sky, just kind of making boneheaded mistakes. They knew across the map exactly the path that Taki was taking, yet somehow they still fall victim to the bottom side play after all things said and done.
Yeah, it's kind of like, sometimes, how in Mario games, sometimes you just like jump across like a whole line of Goombas. Mm-hmm. Sky was the Goombas and Taki was the Mario.
God, so cool. Yeah, after the first one, you can hear him go woo off the top of all of them. You think
turn around.
Maybe I should take one step to the left since I'm in 3-dimensional space instead of 2-dimensional space.
Exactly. Look, if we can have Sky showing a little bit more sentience than Goombas, they might be in a better spot, but we're not quite there yet. Ryuk kind of getting owned in top lane. This is a bit of the nature of the matchup. This Tryndamere will still scale. He will eventually just be able to run at Jace.
Are we flipping Rift Herald?
This is a lot of damage to take for really no reason. Rips out the ult and just... Bears aren't cool. Milky was wrong. As Glory now moving forward, will be able to trade it back onto BJ. Froggy a little bit out of position, but he's able to run away properly. Jungler's looking a bit weird there.
Yeah, both junglers finding themselves in rough positions. I think Drakthar ended up not being in the wrong, I don't think, just because what they were trying to do was make sure that Rift Herald wasn't a position where like Saigon Buffalo could step in with 4 members and potentially take it. So they had to wrestle for like river control here, and that's what Drakthar was going in early for. He didn't really have the ability to get anyone else in. Elio almost finds like a really good engagement into Shogun and into Froggy, and both of them have to burn Flash just to get out of that. So that was one part of this that ended up in a very good position. The 1-for-1 ends up not really yielding anything for anyone. It ends up not being a Rift Herald for either side yet. That is, of course, until Shogun and Taki get a full swap up into the top lane in exchange for bottom side being pushed by Aomine, and for the Dragon getting taken in the back pocket of Drakthar, which is something that they can kind of hang their hat on. But they could just swap this top side and immediately take first tower, which is a super valuable thing to have in the back pocket of both your Senna and everything else, because Bean J is coming up here too. And Froggy swaps into bottom side just to make sure that they can't take a bunch of plates in kind of response. That means Tryndamere is just left on an island. Nobody is up here to help the Tryndamere. They've put 4 members in the bottom side. Taki is going to be able to come down and help maybe on the bottom side as well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a good passage of play for Sky. I think is that a diplomatic way to put it? As they did get plates onto Almine, so the Zaya is fairly happy, but you have just sent Ryuk up the creek, and he doesn't even, let alone not having a paddle, he doesn't have a boat.
Yeah, he might be without legs soon, too, is the problem. I mean, you're giving so much over to Hosmed to be able to do inside of a laning gate. He's up 20 CS. He's almost on the Eclipse. He's got the Ignite in his back pocket. Like, it feels like Ryuk is still so far from being able to get the Gale Force online, being able to get, the Quick Blades online, where all of a sudden you can get on top of the Jace the way we saw yesterday quite a few times. I don't know. There's a lot missing right now from what is, Burst the Sky has been able to accomplish. Again, they weren't able to get Glory going early. They haven't held this massive impact from Drakthar's Volibear, which is what we expected them to do. I guess Amine is untouched for the most part, has 110 CS, is getting close to first item as well at 12 minutes, which isn't too bad for Burst the Sky. But if you're hanging your hat on whether or not a Zaya in a game like this against a Senna who's got so much scaling, a Jace and a Victor range, and especially because you're going for the Gale Force, you're not going for like a super hard penetration. It's still going to be hard to kill Saigon. Run it into a wall here again when we hit late game, and it's like, okay, how exactly are you going to beat Saigon when it comes to the later stage of the game? And I just can't. I'm drawing up blanks consistently once again for Sky.
Getting I know this is a regular complaint we have, but they've clicked on Scion multiple times. Know how many stacks he has? Senna, no idea.
438, actually, is that 438 health?
Yeah,
is that what that says?
Yeah, it's a lot. Oh, Shogun, he just gets absolutely annihilated. This Senna, no real counterplay to a rel engage like that. Great stuff by Elio. Taki now under tower, trying to clear out the waves. With Glory coming in, I don't think he's got too much of a chance. No ultimate either, so he can't just choo-choo his way out of this one. As Drakthar goes incredibly low, but won't quite go down. The zombie won't be able to chase him down either. They clean that up. Elio! That's a heal.
Yeah, they have to burn the heal, and the problem is they still don't have bottom tower quite yet. It's still 2 plates up in the back pocket, and Hosmed's getting top inner tower in exchange for all of this, and Tryndamere's off the map, which is Froggy also is still getting mid push, because for some reason Glory was kind of posturing down towards the bottom side of the map, because they needed that many members just to kill off Shogun and Taki. That's kind of insane to me, how much that Sky, again, they're leaning so hard into making sure anything happens for them positively in the mid game, that they're just putting too much resource into one place on the map, and losing things everywhere else. Between the two teams, there was a lot more that Sky could have learned from the series that they held inside of the best of 5 and C games, but the one who took away so much more is Saigon, because they're the ones that adapted to all this mid-game pressure by saying, okay, if you're going to put on mid-game pressure, we're just going to go on the other side of the map and constantly pull gold for whoever you're not aggressing against. That's been Hosmed 2 games in a row, and that's not the person you wanted to give gold to 2 games in a row for free.
And look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The scariest version of Saigon Buffalo is a version where you could just remove the top laners from both teams and Saigon Buffalo is still dominating the game. Because if they don't need Husmed, then my word, they're terrifying. Because Husmed's really good. And he's just 0-0-0. He's been making decent... I mean, I say he's making good map moves. I think they're making map moves around him. He's just been in top lane the whole time, chilling. He's winning his lane. He's got his item. If Saigon Buffalo don't need Husmed, who is one of the best top laners in the league, then only one team can really stop them. And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not Burst the Sky.
I think it's a really hard thing to say, but I'm going to try to say it. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. I think that's how you say that. Is that right?
Job.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. But outside of just that one little caveat of nonsense that I decided to throw in there, Saigon Buffalo has been playing a pretty mean game, and I remember I got a message, I think, inside of Discord, or maybe it was on Twitter, from Yoei, who was like, yo, Saigon Buffalo's back when they beat Cerberus, because I wasn't there for that series, unfortunately. I was asleep at that time for the first time ever. And I went on and watched the VODs, and I was actually really impressed. And they just continue to have these great performances, which is rather nice. Here they are in the mid lane looking for a bit of fighting. But yeah, I love the feather put down from Amine because it means they can't push into that choke point. But I've appreciated the fact that they haven't regressed yet. I'm hoping I don't curse them with this. But they oftentimes Saigon still has these boneheaded plays. Wow, Glory. What a play.
That was really well done there. The center doesn't have a huge amount of counterplay to that kind of all-in. Also, I noticed only 40 souls.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
A little strange. Yeah, it's really bad for Shogun. I guess you can't really step up into Rel is the one really terrifying part about this, which again, it's kind of the reason that I postulated maybe the
BJ going in.
There we go.
Glory extremely low. Yeah, but they don't actually convert the kill, so it's just going to be a dragon taken. So
I think they're okay with that.
Yeah, you kill the enemy AD carry, you give up a Cloud Drake, who really cares?
Yeah, I honestly think
as well, so
yeah, both teams are a little okay with this. The mid tower going down is tough. Shogun going forward here. Yeah, see, this is the problem with Shogun stepping up. It's just that a lot of people just kill him no matter what the situation. He's too low health to be able to work this with. Right there, though, again, I think the Cloud Drake actually is beneficial on both sides because obviously Sky's cool getting gold back in their back pocket for a little bit of traded play for Saigon Buffalo, but the slow dragon stacking mean that's one less way that Sky really has the ability to like force the game into their favor by going to a Mountain Soul, and especially when it's an Infernal Drake is what it looks like the map is sitting at right now. That's like one of the best Drakes to be able to turn an entire game with because of how much power is behind what that Drake is able to bring in a team fight, especially like a LeBlanc who wants to one-tap somebody. That's just more damage in the combo. That's pretty positive that you're able to slow it down for Saigon Buffalo. So both sides are, I think, a little bit more comfortable as the gold lead is shrunk to just over 2,000. I think it's 2,500, something like that, which isn't the worst in the world at 17 minutes to deal with.
Glory gets hit, but hits just as hard back. I actually just want to dwell on this center point for a minute with how, like, this is terrible soul stacking by Shogun. Yes. I'm sure your way may well be contemplating a departure from the VCS due to this. I hope not, but it's possible. That is scary because you can't give Sky all the time in the world. They do have a Tryndamere.
Woo!
Drakthar bolting away. I feel like if you delay your center getting scary by too long, there is the chance that, yeah, okay, Ryuk had a horrible laning phase, but eventually he just Tryndameres people.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely, it's a position where like a side lane could definitely end up being like the cause of death for Saigon Buffalo if something like that were to happen. Now, Ryuk is also playing a bit like a coward right here because he knows that there's an ultimate coming in from a Scion. The ultimate's already down as well. Oh, there's the ult.
Yeah, he burns the Undying Rage, and now the rest of Sky is here to buy him space. He's ticking down to the Ignite, but does not go down. Now, does Sky want to keep this one going? Evidently they do, as a teleport is called in, an exhaust is used, and if Sky can find their way out, they're in a great spot. That's 2 summoners gone.
Yeah, 2 summoners gone, ultimate's burnt on the side of Saigon Buffalo, so it's a couple of members that end up losing quite a bit. But, I mean, the exchange, I suppose, there's a lot that Saigon Buffalo burnt right there. They lost both of Hosmed summoners in an attempt to trade that kill off. Ghost came through from BJ. Teleport from Froggy came out. I mean, it's a good trade. Again, Sky's mid-games are something we laud them for quite a bit. This one, they found moment after moment where, like, Glory's been able to capitalize on a number of plays. You know, Amine is still collecting gold in pretty nice fashion. And the biggest thing, of course, is that they're not letting Saigon Buffalo kind of completely bully them around the map. They found a couple of moments where they've been able to find bright spots. And not lose all that much. They're down 3K, which is, again, still not a great place to be when your team usually doesn't have the greatest of late games, but you're at least putting yourselves in a position where maybe the winning can come through. Like you said, I think the late game win condition of Ryuk ends up being good, especially once you get to 2-3 items where, like, all of a sudden it doesn't matter how far ahead Hosmed is because the Tryndamere can just kill him no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, also Glory has done a great job getting himself back into this one. It was 1-3, and now is 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
So this LeBlanc kind of activated. Glory has always been the X factor. As down to the bottom lane they go. There's no Tryndamere ult here. Ryuk needs to outplay by right-clicking real hard. He does it well as Drakthar zoning BJ away. Ryuk trying to run away. He's actually really close to the Tryndamere ult, so they can't overcommit into this one. Sky just win the play.
Yes, it's an attempted pick onto Ryuk in the side lane to try to get Hosmed more space and to try to continue to shut out this win condition that you've set up for the side of Burst the Sky yourself. Here, though,
he has ults.
Okay.
I mean, I think he just gets locked down for so long, I don't think even the ult saves him. Maybe he just kills Shogun, though. Ooh, I mean, that was a close run race there.
a little too close run for BJ's taste, and so just pops the ultimate, even though it's a great team fighting ultimate to come through, which is, at least, again, they did end up getting their end goal of making sure that the Tryndamere is going to go down. They have some pushing power on the bottom side, and especially with the pushed up mid lane from Froggy, I'm really surprised they weren't trying to continue anything there, since they already had Hosbit deployed to the bottom side after the kill had went through and he had found everything else. I'm okay, I guess, with them not full committing to it, because the bottom wave is still pushed out. They want to redeploy for the dragon, which is coming through, so they have this great timer where they can walk back into bottom river. They're kind of going through, they're meandering through the jungle a little bit. Hosbit's kind of making his way towards the bottom in the mid lane right now as well, which I think is, again, to me, it's posturing from Saigon Buffalo towards the dragon more than anything else. So they've done proper setup for this. This is quite nice, actually, from Saigon Buffalo. I was hoping they'd do a little bit more with the bottom side, like time that they had bought themselves, hoping that they'd push for the tower or something, give up this Drake. But if they're going for Drake stacking at this point, this is a positive place to do it. Again, Infernal Soul is a very valuable soul to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, and I feel like VCS, they're not making any moves towards this. They just give this one up. It is, Drake stacking, definitely very strong, as you've been saying. But this is not when the crisis alarms start going. Mm-hmm. This one's not the one you need to die on the hill of. You just keep trying to find me Tryndamere up. He has that Gale Force. He's had that for a little while. The Sky appear to be setting a bit of a trap. I can see your way yelling in the chat about souls. Glory goes on in, and that's just a dead center. Okay. They can try and trade it, but Glory's got the fancy feet and breaks all four of BJ's ankles, and now they bear down on Froggy. The Victor doesn't have any counterplay to this as Almine Gale forces forward. Ryuk is unable to die as he swings the big sword. He gets Husband. I think he'll pay for with his life. No, he just runs on out. Sky a back rebel.
That's easy enough for them to be able to kind of capitalize on when you've got all the damage out of a fight. First off, Shogun goes down trying to get souls because Glory is there to be able to hunt him down, and afterwards the rest of the team is there on the re-engage, and you can see Froggy was in a bad position where they're able to find him over top of the wall with Drakthar, which was a fantastic little catch. And when Ryuk presses the ultimate key, again, he is the least fair champion in the game because you can't kill him. He just gets to drop damage into the last remaining damage dealer on Saigon Buffalo side in the Jace. And it opens up now for this Baron buff take. Sky, we're down 3,000 gold at this point. But again, this miraculous mid-game that they've got where they're able to kick off a member out of what seems like absolutely no there from the side of Saigon Buffalo ends up leading to them taking back the gold advantage. They've got the Baron in their back pocket. They've got towers to take across the map. A great place to strike back and take a firm control of a game like this.
This is kind of insane. Look, really well done. Glory knows his target. They waste the Hecarim ult. It's bad to worse.
So much of this, I think, was caused by the fact that they were trying to punish Glory off the back of him going in on top of Shogun and not being able to do so effectively because of the fantastic distortion usage. Not only blocking the shock blast, but also Froggy ran so far up to try to press a Q that it kind of led to the rest of the team collapsing around him. I don't know if it was because of vision and he just hadn't seen that there were reinforcements really heavily on the way for the side of Sky, or whether or not that had not come through and he was just poking forward trying to get a one shot on a Glory or something like that, because it was difficult to see from the angle that we had actually been at. Hopefully these extra Baron buff minions getting pushed into mid tower are going to help Shogun kind of get some souls in his back pocket, because like you said, that count was pretty low and they're going to need it, because right now, again, Saigon has really been faltering for the last couple of minutes. Hosbet, who was again doing such a good job at the beginning of the game, has now fallen by the wayside. Hasn't even completed the third item after having 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I feel like there's perhaps a little bit of an experimental comp from SGB, because so far the center, it's not looking very good. I've got to say, he has not had much of an impact as BJ is trying to find his way in, but Elio with some lovely rel play sets up the kill onto Taki. Drakthar off to the side is just zoning away the rest of the team as Taki, wow, that was a lot of damage out of the zombie. I mean, he needs to be very, very careful, and they will get a trade kill back onto Drakthar, but meanwhile, Tryndamere, he's got a sword.
Yeah, everything else that comes through, though, now from Saigon Buffalo seems like they should be able to push for mid-tower and just snag that one up. So that's a really important grab, because it not only takes away a lot of the Baron buff pushing that comes through from the team, it matches the gold a little bit. Bottom side, you can see Hosmed was able to prevent any additional pushing from coming through from Ryuk. Not going to stop his back, unfortunately. But again, there's a strike back from Saigon Buffalo, so they find a bit of something. Sky able to get the Tryndamere back into a good place, trying to get him into a place where, again, that side lane threat is legitimate to potentially take over the entire game, even without the Baron buff in the back pocket. Like you've been kind of alluding to, is the potential win condition for Sky is having this Tryndamere in their back pocket again and again. But Saigon do not fall to this Baron buff. This could have been a really lethal kind of tool that Sky used to really push the game back into their favor, maybe to cap the second dragon and things like that. They're going to try to use it looks like, for that effect. BJ is going to make it back to bottom side just in time because he's got 50 seconds for the dragon to respawn. It's a nice timer for him. They're just going to compete, I think, for mid push, and as long as they've got it and they're able to get into the river, third dragon might be on the table.
Yeah, and I feel like we're starting to feel the other... Drafting mistake is perhaps a little bit too harsh to say, but drafting weakness is no point in click CC against the block.
Ooh.
I don't think there's anything going to happen here.
Nope,
It's 25 seconds till drag.
Okay, you're right. There is no point in click CC against LeBlanc, which means in an ideal world, you actually have really good vision setup. But again, Senna is actually so weak or so squishy. It's like having an Enchanter as your primary kind of...
Froggy.
Warder.
You can't be here. Ryuk going in on him. He's got the ultimate, though. He's just going to bring down the Victor. We go to the other side of the fight to see what Drakthar's doing, as they've got the kill onto Glory as well. The Ignite will clean up Ryuk, but it's a 2-for-1 in the favor of Sky. Rebel, they're winning this game.
They are very much winning this game. Yes, it's off the back of a couple of things. But again, Ryuk's actually Tryndamere. This ultimate is just so impactful on being able to actually find plays into the solo laners again and again. BJ's got the ultimate if they wanted to. The ultimate from the Senna's almost back up. But again, to me, Sky should just be running immediately, beelining towards the Dragon. If they think that they can push for more, they're going to actually grab 2 turrets here, which is kind of crazy, even though BJ's on this massive flank.
Oh my word. Glory!
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Shogun just had nothing he could do about that one. Taki will fall as well. I mean, they can still just go collect the dragon. BJ just kind of having a geeze, uses the ult to get away. Where was this in game 1?
That's a great question. Again, part of it was that, like, again, Glory kind of pulled himself up by his bootstraps and was able to get out of a really bad situation. The biggest thing for me, I think, is that last game Shogun wasn't giving a lot of opportunities to get back into a game like this, right? Like, Shogun wasn't getting punished. This game, Shogun is getting punished at every possible opportunity. Anytime that he's out of position, Glory's punishing it. Anytime he's out of position, Elio's punishing it. Like, if one of the solo laners is out of position, Ryuk is punishing it. And it's just really hard to get any kind of counterplay. Like you said, there's no hard CC for LeBlanc. It's kind of difficult, I think, without pressing click CC to really take care of Tryndamere with the Flash and the Navori Click Blades and the Gale Force all done. And so if either summoner spell is available, it's hard enough to kind of dislodge the Tryndamere from somebody, even if you've able to one-shot him effectively before the ultimate comes through. It's making it difficult, I think, for the side of Saigon to really find effective fights because of how hard it is to manage some of the champions coming through from Sky's composition, especially when they've been able to dig themselves into this much of a gold advantage now.
Yeah, at this point, I just don't even know what the counterplay is for SGB. You can't stop Glory, because you don't have any point-and-click CC. It is an 8-kill LeBlanc. You can't stop Tryndamere, because, A, Lamau, he's Tryndamere. You still don't have point-and-click CC to try and lock him down for long enough. I don't even know what the plan is, let alone executing it. Drakthar is just a bag of meat, but...
Yeah, it would be one thing... Oh, actually, get a little bit more of an engagement.
I mean, that was just...
Wow. Oh.
Wow.
What? Okay.
Okay, I mean, that's the counterplay, is Sky loses their minds.
Okay. It looks like Ryuk is going to be able to grab bottom inhibitor in exchange for the Baron buff. That is to say, unless Taki continues... Okay, yeah, please keep the Baron under your back pocket. Yeah, all right.
I mean, okay, they do trade it for an in-hib. They're going to try and end. They're just trying to base race. There's no one to stop backs, though. They can't do this.
Oh, they can't.
This doesn't work. It's just an in-hib.
Fortunately, didn't push too far unless somebody's actually going to be here. They have redeployment with like the the jump out from base. Yeah, I actually didn't mind that for at least a second. I think the problem is if Glory hadn't taken his entire health bar, he could have poked back into the pit 1 or 2 more times, potentially, to stop them or slow down the Baron buff, stop their backs, that kind of thing. And if that had been on the cards here from the side of Burst the Sky, that's when Ryuk can go for an end. That's when Ayamine can run into the base, and maybe they can try to force into this game, force through a game number 3. But fortunately for the side of Saigon Buffalo, they were able to drop Glory so quickly with a single shot blast Q from Hosmet that they grabbed the Baron buff. They do lose bottom inhibitor, which is pretty impactful for Dragons in the future, just because you know that bottom wave is going to get pushed back in the other direction. But at least it's something, right? Like Saigon Buffalo get quite a bit of gold back in their back pockets, and now they themselves can try to set bottom wave into a good position. You can see them just 5-manning on bottom side, which is, I think, is the correct move.
Yeah, just shove it all the way out.
Dragon stack. Yeah, 100%. That's right.
That's sort of the other argument for where to take the inhib. You kind of want it on the opposite side of the map, because you can just be in bottom lane pushing it out and still be in range for Dragon. So I actually think SGB came out very well on top. I don't think Sky played... I think the decision was fine. I just don't think they played it well, because there's just a chance they lose the game right here.
Yeah, they have to be very careful, because if Ryuk is just going to get caught pushing on the other side of the map, he is so vital to this composition. Even inside of the team fight, it's necessary for him to be here.
They're putting a lot of damage onto the Scion. He does go down, but he's the only one that has fallen. And now SGB are just answering it back. Oh. Ryuk, you have to back. You don't win. You don't win. Look how far behind you are in the race. You don't win, you fool. As now they come in, Glory has picked up 1, and maybe I spoke a bit too soon because it's only Shogun left. He does win. He does win. Oh, it's actually a great call. God, I look silly now, don't I? As Shogun can't back. That's just going to be the Tryndamere hitting the base. There's no one respawning. I
think that's the game.
Taki up in 8. There's still 1 tower. Yeah, it's game. He can't stop him. He has ult. He just right-clicks
Almost certainly not. No. Oh, it's such a tragic ending. They were already in the base. They have a Baron buff, but it doesn't matter. They all died. Oh, and we were talking shit about Ryuk all